Guys, I just started watching New Girl today and it's so good. I know that's so random, but I really wanted to say that. So I'm going to be showing you guys all 74 books I have on my Kindle. It's like a library tour, but obviously just with the Kindle. I've only had this thing for about 5 months. I want to say I have the Kindle Paperwhite and I love it. I bring it everywhere with me. And obviously I've gotten a lot of books on this thing. So I'm just going to show you guys all the books. I think I'm going to start with the books I already read on here. I'm going to go from like oldest read to most recently read. And then I'm going to show you guys the books I haven't read yet. Also, none of these books are Kindle Unlimited books. They're all books I've purchased. So I'm just going to get started. So the first 3 books I have is part of the Heaven Official's Blessing series. I do have the physical copy of these. Normally I don't buy physical copies if I buy a copy on the Kindle, but these were an exception because I bought the physical copies first, but then I was desperate and so I bought book 3 in Heaven Official's Blessing and then book 4 in Heaven Official's Blessing because I was on vacation and I did not bring the physical books with me, which was dumb. And then I don't really know why I randomly have book 7 on here. I'm very much a read in class type of person. Oh my god, Heaven Official's Blessing series is so good though. First Down May series I ever read and every single book 5 out of 5. And next is Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This was the first T. Kingfisher book I ever read. I rated it like a 3 out of 5 I think. Mostly because I'm not really into romantasy anymore. I don't know, I really can't get back into it for some reason. I thought it was really funny though. The writing style was definitely interesting in this one. I'm gonna try to read more T. Kingfisher books to see if her writing's changed in any of her recent releases. The Situationship by Abby Jimenez. This one I rated a 4 out of 5. This is the short story with Maddie and Doug, I believe, from Just for the Summer. I love Just for the Summer, and also Abby Jimenez's short stories are always so good. I don't know why I love them so much, even though they're so short. The Will of the Many by James Islington. This one I think I rated a 3.5. I don't know, I thought it was interesting in some parts and then other parts I thought were really underwhelming. The Witch Would Not by Olivia Atwater, rated that one a 3 out of 5. I don't know why, I just didn't like the couple in this book. Also, I can't really remember anything. The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez, 4 out of 5. There's something about short stories that really hit different when you're in the mood for them. A Series of Rooms by A.J. Barlow. That one I think I rated a 3.5 out of 5. This one I think the whole story was pretty interesting. I just think the execution was kind of not for me. Probably, I don't know, maybe it was the writing style, but I do know this is a debut book for this author. The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, rated this one a 4 out of 5. I love this one, love the couple in here. It was so cute. There's something so addictive about Helen Huang's writing. Next to our part of the All for the Game series by Nora Sakovic is The Sunshine Court, and then The Golden Raven, which is book 4 and 5 in the All for the Game series. 5 out of 5 series. I'm so obsessed with it. When in Rome by Sarah Adams, rated that one a 3 out of 5. I feel like it was a cute typical rom-com. Sarah Adams, I believe, mostly writes fluffy romances. I've only read 2 of her books before. This one I did like more than the cheat sheet, so I'm probably gonna read the second book in the series as well. Next 2 are the final ones that I read on here. It's part of a series called Mid-Century NYC by Kat Sebastian. First book is We Could Be So Good, rated that one a 4 out of 5. Second book is You Should Be So Lucky, rated that one a 4 out of 5 as well. I love the couples in here. Also, the way her writing is just so cozy. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the 59 unread books I have on here. Here we go. So again, I'm gonna go from oldest purchase to newest purchase. Hopefully, I don't know, some of these got a bit mixed up because I do accidentally click on some things on here. So first up is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I heard Laini Taylor is so good. I also want to read, I think it was the Smoke and Bone trilogy. Strange the Dreamer is a duology, and I haven't read a fantasy duology in so long, which is the main reason why I want to read this. The Phoenix King by Aparna Verma. The way the author describes her book, it sounds so interesting. Also, she describes the magic system as like firebending, and her romance in here is like enemies to lovers. And from what I've seen of the fan art, it looks like really good enemies to lovers where she's literally trying to kill him. Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castel. I can't remember too much about this one, but I remember seeing it in the bookstore one time, and I read the back, did a bit of research too, and it seemed really interesting. The Jasad Air by Sarah Hashem. I heard the title of this book so many times, and yet I have no clue what it's about, so I'm excited to like dive into it blind. I think the second book also came out, right? Or it's coming out soon. These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs. I don't know if I'm correct, but I think this is a debut book by this author, and I heard it's really good. It is like a mix of sci-fi and fantasy. Normally I don't read too much sci-fi. The Unmaking of June Farrell by Adrienne Young. Adrienne Young wrote that pirate series. What was it called? Fabled. She wrote Fabled. I think I rated Fabled like a 3 out of 5. The Unmaking of June Farrell is like magical realism and then like general fiction. Normally I don't read too much general fiction, but I'm excited to see how the magical realism is incorporated in here. 5 Broken Blades by May Corland. This one I saw a bookstagram or somewhere. I can't remember which one, but she said it was like similar to Six of Crows, and I love Six of Crows. I really just want to find a book with like heists and then multiple POVs and then multiple couples, which is what I loved about Six of Crows so much. So I'm really hoping this book is similar. Manacled by Sen Lin Yu. I really need to read Harry Potter so that I can read this because I want to read this so badly. I heard it's so good. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. This one's a cozy fantasy. Actually, when I first saw this book in store, I was kind of surprised surprised to see it in the romance section. For some reason I thought it would be in the fantasy, but if it's in the romance section, I'm guessing the main focus is the romance. House of Frank by Kay Sinclair. When I read the back of this book, it seems so wholesome. Also, I mostly just got it because I love the cover. It's just so cozy looking. I think that was also another cozy fantasy. The Wall of Winnipeg by Mariana Zapata. I've seen so many people talk about Mariana Zapata, but I'm so scared because her romance books are huge and they're romance books. Normally, really big romance books aren't my favorite. I'm hoping if I like this book, I'll like the rest of her books because I know she's written so many. The Wall of Winnipeg, I think, is also a sports romance. Football, right? I'm also not a big sports romance reader, so I kind of wanted to dabble a bit more. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I tried reading an Erin Morgenstern book so long ago. I think it was like in grade 8. I was so confused at the time though because I don't know, I don't think I was at the right age to start reading that type of book, so I'm hoping if I read one now, I'll understand a bit more. Plus, I heard The Night Circus is really good and it's like romance fantasy, also mixed with like general fiction. Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This one I did a lot of research before I bought. I don't know why I was so iffy about this one. I want to read her books in the Shadowhunter world. This one I believe is her adult fantasy debut. I heard Swordcatcher is more build up, like world building, and then the subplot romance is also building up, so I'm hoping there will be a bit more romance in the second book if I get through the first book. You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This one I just really like the cover. Also, when I read the back of this book one time, it kind of sounded similar to the plot of Funny Story by Emily Henry. I don't think it's fake dating like Funny Story, but it did remind me of that when I first read the back. Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. Not gonna lie, this one was mostly a cover buy. I saw it in the bookstore one time. It was so pretty. I think Voyage of the Damned is like fantasy. There might be dragons in here. What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This one I think is more darkish fantasy, and I've been wanting to read more dark fantasy, especially during the fall. I feel like that's such a good season to read that type of fantasy. Forging Silver and Stars by Bridget Kemmerer. I love Bridget Kemmerer's contemporary romance books. I tried reading one of her fantasy books maybe a year, 2 years ago. Wasn't the biggest fan. I think it was like Defy the Night, rated that one a 3 out of 5. So I'm like hoping I'll like this one a bit more than her last fantasy book that I read. Perfect Fit by Claire Gilmore. I don't know, I think I saw this in the bookstore one time. Also, I just thought the cover was really cute. Sword Crossed by, I think it's Freya Mars. This one I heard is like potentially slow burn, enemies to lovers fantasy. Also, it looks like a fencing romance because Sword Crossed obviously is in the title. Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsner. Again, not a really big sports romance reader, so I want to try reading more of it. Also, I've heard pretty good things about this one, and the cover's really cute. Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young. Hannah Bonham Young wrote Out on a Limb. I've heard really good things about that one, so I really wanted to try reading one of her books. Dishonestly Yours by Kristen and Becca Ritchie. I read the first book in the Addicted series. I thought it was okay, but I'm hoping I'll like the rest of the series. Dishonestly Yours, I think, is the first book in their newest series that they just released. Collide by Bal Cabra. Once again, sports romance, hockey romance too. A lot of people seem to like hockey romance, so I wanted to see what I would think. Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. I love Rapunzel. Tangled is probably one of my favorite Disney movies, if not my favorite Disney movie. The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. This one I heard there was some letter exchanging. Also, I think I got in a cozy fantasy phase sometime in like 2024 or 2023, so I was recognizing like all the cozy fantasy books. The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Raz. This one definitely gonna read during Christmas. I've never read a Christmas book before, so it's gonna be like an experiment during Christmas time, me just reading a bunch of Christmas books. Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. This one I heard is the best one in the series so far. I don't really know if I should read the first 2 books, but I really wanted to get to The Good Couple. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I think this one's like dark academia. I don't really know too much about it. Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. I've heard such good things about this book. Also, I think I saw someone compare it to Abby Jimenez. Really looking forward to reading this one during the summer. Illuminati by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This one's like a really big book, but also not. If you flip through the pages, the formatting of the pages is so different. It looks so interesting because the series is called, I think, the Illuminati Files, and so each page is like a file. The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. I haven't heard too much about this one, but the cover was really pretty. Also, the title of The Honey Witch potentially gives me like cozy fantasy vibes. Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. Lee Bardugo actually has a blurb on the front of this book. Also, I read the back of this once, and I think it's about this girl who reincarnates in another world and she becomes the villain, and so she's doing her best to become like the best villain ever. Way of the Argosy by Sebastian de Castel. I think this is like a prequel to Spellslinger. Normally I don't read too many prequels, but I read some reviews for this and people say they love this one even more than Spellslinger. The Gentle Art of Fortune Hunting by KJ Charles. This one sounded so interesting because if I'm remembering this correctly, one of the main characters is going after the other main character's sister, but they end up falling in love with the other main character instead. I don't know, it just sounded like a bunch of drama. It's also in a Regency setting, I think. The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the 3rd book in the Kiss Quotient series, if I'm remembering his name right. I think this is Kwan's book. He was honestly one of my favorite characters in the first book, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Also, I've heard some people say this is their favorite in the series. A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. I want to read a Tia Williams book so badly, especially, I think it's called 7 Days in June, the one about the authors. A Love Song for Ricky Wilde has like magical realism elements in it, so I was excited to see how that would be incorporated in the story, especially since this is like general fiction. The Grace Year by, I think it's Kim Liggett. I can't remember what this one's about, but I remember being really interested in the description. Pretty sure it's also a dystopian. I think the front of the book says survive together or die alone, so maybe it's like a Hunger Games type situation. Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukegawa. The title of this just sounded really cute to me. Also, I love Japanese to English translated books. I don't know, I just think the way they're written is like kind of simple but also so relaxing at the same time. And also there's like a bunch of complex themes. And in such a tiny book too, it can have like such an impact. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. No clue what this one's about, but I don't read too many mystery thrillers, so really looking forward to this one. Next, I have the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. So obviously Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and then A Curse for True Love. With this series, I heard I have to get past the first book, and then people normally really love the second and third book. I don't know why I never bought the physical copy, so I'm really hoping having it on my Kindle will motivate me to read it. Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I actually didn't know I had this one. I'll probably read this one before I read the other one because I think this one's her most popular one. I think this one's like a pregnancy trope, which I don't read too much of that, but again, heard really good things about this book, so I'm hoping I'm gonna like it. Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is the first book in the trilogy. I also think she's coming out with a novella for this series this year. This one gave me like darkish fantasy vibes. Also, I love YA fantasy. All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. I think this one's like a romance and mystery mix. I was really interested in the mystery part. Also, this book is huge. Like, I didn't realize how big it was until I saw it in the bookstore one time. I also didn't realize it was a romance until I saw it in the romance section. I thought it was mainly historical fiction and mystery, so I really want to see how the romance is involved in here. A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. Again, wanted to try out more T. Kingfisher books to see how much their writing has improved with their later books. I think this one's a recent release. Also, potentially, I think this is dark fantasy. The cover's really pretty though. It gets very magical. An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. The title of this one really interested me. I think this one's like a fantasy. Will Prescribe You a Cat by Seo Ishida. The title of this one is so cute. Like, they prescribe you cats instead of medicine. I think I also just want to read more Japanese to English translated books because my favorite one is The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. That one is so good, so I'm really hoping to find more that I like. Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is the second book in the When in Rome series. This is about the sister to the first guy in the first book, and then also the bodyguard to the pop star in the first book. I was most interested in reading this one actually because the girl owns like a flower shop, and then obviously the bodyguard with like the tattooed arm sleeves. Next two are part of the Friendzone series by Abby Jimenez. It's The Friendzone and then Life's Too Short. I don't have the second book. The Friendzone I've heard really iffy things about, but I want to see if I like it. Next is 3 books in the Artifacts of Verano series by Nisha J. Tooley. So Trial of the Sun Queen, Rule of the Aurora King, and then Fate of the Sun King. Heard really good things about the series, but also I heard I have to get past the first book and then the other books are really good. It's like Hunger Games but only with women. Next is the first 3 books in the This Woven Kingdom series by Tahira Mafi. So This Woven Kingdom, These Infinite Threads, and then All This Twisted Glory. Heard such good things about this one. I also heard some people like this more than Shatter Me. I think there's a 4th book coming out this year too, the green one. I don't know if I want to read this one first though or Shatter Me. The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. I've been wanting to read an Erin A. Craig book for so long, especially the one that's based off of the 12 Dancing Princesses. I think the 13th Child is also a standalone. And then the final book we have on here is Blood Over Brighthaven by ML Wong. I've been wanting to read Sort of Kaigen by ML Wong, but I've also heard really good things about this one. The typewriter on the cover really interested me though, so I'm hoping letters will be somehow involved. But yeah, that is all the books on my Kindle. Hopefully I can read some of these soon, but it's pretty late, so I'm gonna go sleep. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!